Oh, hi there. We are in the Peruvian Amazon.
This is the extended documentary of everything we saw, so that you will see it too. This is an animal channel with a focus on reptiles, as we hope to get more people interested in these amazing creatures. But here in the Amazon rainforest, there's a lot more amazing animals to show you. So in this documentary, we will see a lot of amazing mammals, reptiles, amphibians, and some birds. Our Amazon expedition officially kicked off in Iquitos, Peru. It's a bit of an geographical anomaly. It is the largest city in the world that you cannot reach by car. If you aren't arriving by boat, you're flying in. So we made the jump from Lima, where it was a breezy 16 degrees Celsius, only to be punched in the face by the 30-degree jungle heat and humidity the second the cabin door opened. Okay, so here we are. Welcome to the Amazon.
The hotel, Vista Amazonica. Look at the balcony.
We stayed one night in Iquitos, in the hotel of the company Amazonia Expeditions, responsible for our tour in the Amazon. The views opening from the window were gorgeous, as the Amazon River was right next to us. The sheer vastness of the river opening in front of us was quite difficult to fathom, and an experience in on itself. But Iquitos was not our final destination. Entering the jungle itself happened with a speedboat drive that took a few hours. During this trip, we saw some beautiful little towns and villages right on the shoreline of the Amazon River. We were barely out of Iquitos, heading towards Tahuayo Lodge, when the Amazon decided to give us a proper welcoming committee. We spotted a pod of grey river dolphins. There are only 2 species of dolphins in the Amazon, and while the Amazon is famous for its pink dolphins, these grey ones feel a little bit more familiar. They're high-energy acrobats that actually enjoy leaping above the surface. It's an amazing sight to see in person, but a total nightmare for my camera skills. Trying to film a jumping dolphin from a moving boat is basically an Olympic sport I was definitely not trained for. So consider this a formal apology for the shaky camera footage you're seeing now and will definitely see later on. Between speedboats and teepee canoes, I spent most of the trip just trying to stay in the boat, let alone stay in focus. I hope you enjoy the raw, unplugged experience nonetheless. And so, we finally arrived at Tahuayo Lodge. Okay, so we have arrived at the lodge. It is amazing. The views are beautiful, and also the room is gorgeous.
Just show the views. And monkeys are supposed to come every evening, especially squirrel monkeys and capuchin monkeys. Look at these views. All that we are surrounded by the jungle. This is Tahuayo Lodge. And there, the flooded forest, as you can see, the level of the water is still high. It's going down, something that you can appreciate if you check the shade on the concrete structure. It's going down very fast, but it's still flooded.
Yeah, so that is the level of the water where it used to be like 2 weeks ago.
It was 3 meters like a few days ago, and now it's probably around 2 meters, a bit less perhaps.
The morning started by having breakfast at the lodge, and I must say the food was top tier. Genuinely better than any hotel I've ever been to. Sufficiently stuffed with the best breakfast in Peru, we always hit the water. Every morning started with a journey deeper into the river basin, scouting for whatever Amazon had in store for us. Our first stop in the flooded forest is Lake Tabano. This little guy is a juvenile black caiman. While the adults can grow into true apex predators, sometimes reaching over 5 meters, the babies, however, have a tough start. This one is floating perfectly still amongst the surface vegetation. It's a patient hunter, waiting for a stray fish or a large insect to pass by. To make hunting easier, they have small sensory organs on their snout that can detect even the slightest vibration in the water. It's essentially a biological radar system for hunting in this murky environment. They keep so still that they look more like a piece of a driftwood than a living reptile. But you shouldn't let the stillness fool you. They are built for explosive speed. The second we crossed his personal space boundary, he decided the session was over. One powerful flick of that muscular tail and he vanished into the dark tea-colored water. In the flooded forest, the animals often find refuge in the trees right above water. Here we spotted this beautiful swamp snake. These snakes are incredibly agile, designed for navigating these thin outer branches. They are able to bridge gaps between even the most fragile twigs, and are able to move through the canopy without vibrating the branches and alerting their prey. Here on the lookout is a Cocha whiptail. Cocha is the Quechua word for lake or lagoon, so they are the lizards of the lakes. These lizards are common in the Amazonian lowlands. Many lizards avoid the water, but the Cocha whiptail is a sunlover that thrives right in the middle of the flooded forest. They are an active forager, meaning they don't just sit and wait for food. They move constantly, flicking their tongues to pick up chemical cues of insects hiding in the leaves. This one is currently basking and showing those beautiful colors. Floating on this piece of driftwood is one of the most respected and feared inhabitants of the Amazon, the Fer-de-Lance. This highly venomous pit viper was just floating around on a log in the middle of the flooded forest. This individual is perfectly coiled, likely waiting for a frog or a small bird to land on its island. Between the eye and the nostril, they have a heat-sensing organ, the loreal pit. These organs allow the snake to see the thermal signatures of warm-blooded prey, even in total darkness. The venom of the Fer-de-Lance is a complex, aggressive cocktail that is both hemotoxic and cytotoxic. This means it doesn't just prevent blood from clotting, leading to systemic bleeding, but it also aggressively breaks down tissue and muscle cells at the bite site. It essentially is a digestive process that begins before the prey is even swallowed. Here, shooting from one tree to the next, while taking a shortcut through the water, is an olive tree snake. Keeping the camera focus on this fast-moving snake while balancing in a canoe was giving me a really hard time, but hopefully you're able to appreciate their beauty. Olive tree snakes are a non-venomous colubrid. They rely on their speed and their vision to hunt frogs and lizards. They use their incredible length to their advantage. They can stretch over half their body length into thin air to find the next foothold while moving between the tree branches. And as the tree branches move, we can see that this snake balances perfectly with the motion, keeping a close eye on us at all times. This harmless snake and its cute googly eyes really made our day. It's hard to feel intimidated when an animal looks like it's been designed by a cartoon animator. It's just one of those moments in the Amazon where you are just fascinated by the wildlife. This lichened katydid with brilliant green wings would be invisible within the green forest floor, but stuck here on the brown bark of a lone tree when the forest is flooded, it stands out like a beautiful neon sign. It's a reminder of the seasonal shift out here in the Amazon rainforest. What worked for survival and camouflage a few months ago is now less useful as the flooding hides the forest floor away. Among the leaves, we found the masters of minimalism, stick insects. In a world where everything is trying to eat you, looking exactly like a boring twig is brilliant for survival. Sometimes the insects wanted to hitch a ride or to get to know us a little better.
So, what have we seen so far? What is the highlight for you?
For me, I think the highlight was actually the very first day, because we saw the golden Tegu, and it was like literally 2 hours after we actually arrived to this place, and we went straight to the lake. What was it called?
Lake Tabano.
Tabano. So Lake Tabano, we went there, and literally almost the first tree we saw the golden Tegu, and it was a gorgeous animal. Gorgeous indeed. These are some of the largest lizards in South America, and they have a reputation for being remarkably intelligent. Some researchers even compare their problem-solving skills to those of small mammals. When it comes to food, the golden tegus are true generalists. They'll eat anything from fruit and insects to bird eggs and even small rodents. From a physiological standpoint, they are quite unique. Unlike most cold-blooded reptiles, tegus can actually sustain their body temperature above the ambient air temperature during the breeding season by increasing their metabolic rate and decreasing thermal loss, a rare trait known as seasonal endothermy. This also provides us with a fascinating focal point for understanding how the evolutionary transition to true endothermy might have occurred. Scattered through the flooded forests, we found these incredible tree runners. If you ask me, they look like miniature dinosaurs with their pattern and texture. These lizards are the embodiment of patience. They are a sit and wait type of predator, often staying still for long periods and perfectly blending to the vertical world of the trees. You can see how alert they are, constantly scanning their surroundings and tracking us with those large dark eyes. You probably noticed the way they tilt their heads to look around. Even though they aren't moving their bodies, they are tracking our every move with a very deliberate, almost analytical gaze. Their field of vision is their primary defense, so keeping tabs on everything around them is of the utmost importance. They aren't just looking at us, they're constantly evaluating when is the right time to vanish. Moving out from the main tributaries changes everything. The scale of the trees, the blasting sun, and the sheer volume of life along the banks. Some of our best sightings weren't planned at all. They were just the neighbors watching us pass by as we traveled from location to the next. Like this Amazonian tree rat checking us out from his hollow. These rodents are strictly nocturnal, but occasionally you'll catch one peeking out during the day. As we move deeper into the tributaries, the neighbors get a bit larger. These are monksakis. With their thick, shaggy coats and pale faces, they look like the wise, grey-haired hermits of the high canopy. Their fur is quite a marvel. It's extremely coarse and water repellent. a necessary adaptation for staying dry in the forest that sees several meters of rain a year. They have some sexual dimorphism, as the males usually have distinct white or golden monk-like faces, while the females are more uniformly grey. Saki monkeys live in small, tight-knit family units, usually a bonded pair and their offspring. Unlike many other monkeys, Sakis are primarily seed predators. They have incredibly strong jaws and specialized teeth designed to crack open hard-shelled fruits and seeds that other primates simply cannot access. We were able to take a plunge into the river ourselves. The water is the color of strong tea, stained by tannins from decaying leaves, and it's surprisingly warm. You can't see more than a few inches in front of you, and we weren't alone in there. We were sharing this space with one of the river's most mysterious residents. Filming the Pink River dolphin is a lesson in patience. Unlike their acrobatic ocean cousins, they rarely leap or breach. They are built for the flooded forest, with flexible necks and small dorsal ridges rather than high fins. That pink hue isn't just pigment. It's actually a result of blood vessels being close to the skin's surface, which can intensify when they are excited or active, almost like blushing. Most of the time, you just see a glimpse. They are like ghosts in the tanning-stained water. Sometimes moving through the tributaries, we could hear the animals move within the canopy, especially the monkeys.
Very interesting that the squirrel monkeys and capuchin monkeys travel together in groups of up to 100, and they are followed by the great Annie, because the great Annie alerts the monkeys, especially the squirrel monkeys, of predators, so there's like a relationship there, and the great Annie takes food from the monkeys, because the monkeys are moving the branches and the fruits are falling, and the great Annie can access that according to the guide.
Here we see a troop of squirrel monkeys. Unlike the stoic Sakis we saw earlier, these little primates are in constant motion. They are incredibly lightweight, which allows them to access the thinnest, outermost branches that larger monkeys cannot reach. They are highly social and travel in large troops where there is a constant chatter and a shared vigilance. They are foraging for insects and small fruits, essentially gardening the riverbank as they move. Their high metabolic rate means they have to spend almost 80% of their day just looking for food. Did you know that squirrel monkeys have the largest brain-to-body mass ratio of all primates, even higher than humans? This high neurological demand is likely why they are so inquisitive and quick to learn. And when it's time to move, they do not hesitate. One brave individual scouts the gap and makes the leap, and the rest follow in a rapid-fire succession, using the exact same takeoff and landing points. Along the bank, we also found a family of Coppery Titi monkeys. These are some of the most devoted primates in the forest. Titis are strictly monogamous, often staying with the same partner for life. Notice how they stay shoulder to shoulder on the branch. This physical proximity is a constant in their lives. They are rarely more than a few feet apart. Titis are also famous for their tail twining, intertwining their tails while they sleep. Here you can see one meticulously grooming that plush thick tail. Keeping it clean isn't just about hygiene, it's also about insulation. A titi's tail is non-prehensile, meaning they can't use it to grab branches. That tiny flash of movement was a Pygmy Marmoset, the smallest primate here. Weighing barely more than a stick of butter, these finger monkeys have a very specialized niche. While most primates forage for fruits or insects, Pygmy marmosets specialize in plant exudates, like sap. They have a precise approach to feeding. Their lower incisors are specially adapted to gouge perfect circular holes in the bark. They aren't trying to eat the wood itself. Instead, they are tapping into the tree's own internal pathways to trigger the flow of gum and sap. You could say that they are essentially miniature farmers. A troop will maintain a sap field of dozens of holes, moving up and down the trunk to visit each hole and lap up the high energy nutrients that seep out. It's a high sugar diet that fuels their incredibly fast-paced lives. Here, perched high above the riverbank, is a small colony of neotropic cormorants. You can see one of them striking a pose as it is drying its feathers. Unlike most water birds, their feathers aren't fully waterproof, which reduces their buoyancy, but allows them to dive deeper and swim faster after fish. But, as a trade-off, they need to dry out after. This is a Rufusine tiger heron. The tiger in the name comes from those beautiful stripes on its neck. These birds are famous for their incredible patience. They can hold a frozen pose for ages, ready to launch that dagger-like bill to catch prey. This time, we caught one having a rest on the branches. Nearby, the black-collared hawk keeps a sharp eye on the river. It has rough pads on its feet, specially designed to grip slippery fish. To be quite frank, I find this one to be one of the strangest birds I have ever seen. This is the Hoatzin. The locals call it the stink bird because it digests leaves just like a cow, and the odor is quite recognizable from rather far away. They can be considered as living fossils. The chicks even have tiny claws on their wings to help them climb the trees. And as adults, they are really clumsy. As their huge digestive system takes up so much space in their chest, they don't have much space for flight muscles, and as a result, you'll mostly see them make short, awkward jumps between the branches, rather than soar in the air. Here is an original hawkeye, the slate-colored hawk. They are the specialists of the flooded forest, as they prefer to hunt from these low perches, dropping down to snag a lizard or frog. Here is the celebrity of the Amazon, the brown-throated three-toed sloth. In this moment, you probably see that I didn't exactly bring a NASA-grade telescope lens with me. At this range, we can just see the outline of this Amazon royalty, with very little detail. But, if you're patient and keep a sharp eye on the banks, you probably will get a clear look. Getting closer, you can see the distinct markings on his back. That vibrant orange patch on the upper back is known as a speculum. This is a sexually dimorphic trait. Only the adult males possess this badge of maturity, which acts as a status symbol for females. Despite their name, sloths don't actually have toes in the way we humans do. Instead, they have 3 massive curved claws, which are essentially elongated finger bones covered in keratin. They use them like permanent meat hooks to move effortlessly on the branches. Though they look quite large, they only weigh about 4 to 5 kilograms, but their thick, shaggy fur makes them look much bigger. Their hair actually grows in the opposite direction than that of most mammals, as it grows from the stomach towards the back. This allows rainwater to run right off while they hang upside down. Sometimes their fur can also seem a little bit greenish. This is due to the green algae, which thrives in the grooves of their hair, providing them with a living layer of camouflage. Watching them move, it's easy to think that they're just lazy, but their pace is actually a calculated survival strategy. Sloths have the slowest metabolism of any non-hibernating mammal. In fact, their digestion is so slow that it can take up to a full month just to digest a single meal of leaves. They are basically powered by a slow-burning compost pile in their stomachs. You might also notice how far they can turn their heads. While most mammals, including humans, only have 7 neck vertebrae, the 3-toed sloth has 9. This allows them to rotate their heads up to 270 degrees, giving them a massive field of vision to scan for predators like harpy eagles, without having to move their heavy bodies and waste energy. They truly are the ultimate masters of doing more with less. They don't run from trouble. They just blend in, move slow, and outweight the rest of the world. Just when I thought the Amazon couldn't get any stranger, we spotted this, a prehensile-tailed porcupine. Now, I usually think of porcupines as ground dwellers, but in this rainforest, almost everything has evolved to take to the trees. This was a total surprise to me, a porcupine that lives its entire life in the canopy. Notice how it stays so secure on those thin branches. Like the name suggests, it actually has a prehensile tail, which acts like a 5th limb. This tail lacks quills on the underside to give it a better grip, allowing the animal to anchor itself while it reaches for leaves or fruit, or just takes a nap on the branches. Even though it's small, it's heavily armored. Those quills are actually modified hairs, and they are its primary defense against predators like jaguars or ocelots. Despite that formidable armor, this one was clearly a bit shy. Most of the time we watched him, he kept turning his back to us, trying his best to ignore our boat and disappear into the leaves. It's a classic defense move. Show the needles, hide the face. It's not exactly a warm welcome, but when you're a walking pincushion in the middle of the jungle, playing it safe is probably a wise choice. Further in, the flooded forest gives way to terra firme, or solid ground. You can see the bank rising just barely above the waterline here. It's not much, but it's enough to put on our boots and head into the brush to see who's hiding within the foliage. Stepping onto the forest floor opens up a whole new world. Here, among the plants, you can find the most amazing little critters. This one is a brilliant-thighed poison frog. While it belongs to the poison frog family, it's actually an aromobatine, meaning it's generally non-toxic compared to its more famous relatives. This species relies on these orange flash marks on its legs to startle predators. It is also famous for its dedicated fathers, who carry their tadpoles on their backs to find the perfect nursery pool. Here, hiding between the plants, is the stunning Tahuayu poison dart frog. This species is a true specialist. It is endemic to only this small part of the Amazon. If you look closely, you can actually see two individuals in this shot. Hidden inside the plant is a male. In the world of poison dart frogs, it's almost exclusively the males that produce calls. They are highly territorial. They use these chirping sounds to advertise their presence, defend their nursery sites from other males, and to attract females. While filming, we didn't even realize that there were two of them there until I saw the footage on the screen. It is incredible how much you can miss in the Amazon, even when you are especially trying to look for it. The bold yellow and black pattern is a classic example of aposematism, a warning to predators that its skin contains defensive toxins. Because they have so few natural enemies, they are often quite bold, giving us plenty of time to admire their intricate stripes. These frogs are essentially arboreal. They spend their lives navigating a vertical world of stems and leaves rather than the forest floor. The males have an important role in breeding. After the female lays eggs, the male will often wait for the tadpoles to hatch and carry them one by one on his back to a safe pool of water trapped in the axils of plants like bromeliads or even large fallen leaves. In these isolated, sky-high ponds, the tadpoles are safe from the many predators that prowl the waters of the ground. It's a high-stakes commute for a creature that's barely the size of a thumbnail. This one is the flat-headed bromeliad tree frog. These frogs have evolved flattened bodies specifically to slide into the tight gaps of bromeliad leaves. This individual is presenting this behavior perfectly. The plant provides a private sanctuary where the frog is protected from the drying tropical heat and where it can hide from predators and even lay its eggs in a private, elevated pool. While its name suggests a life in the high canopy, this species is actually one of the few tree frogs frequently spotted on the forest floor. Those thin orange bands on its legs are a form of disruptive coloration. By breaking the visual outline of its body, the frog becomes nearly invisible to predators scanning the dappled light of the forest. It's a versatile survivor, equally at home in the leaf litter as it is on the treetops. And to be honest, that face is adorable. Last, but definitely not least, is the Uakari poison frog. This frog is named after the red-faced Uakari monkey because of that brilliant red back. It has some insane coloration. The contrast of the bright red on the body with the blue and yellow on the legs makes this frog seem out of this world beautiful. The intricate honeycomb-like pattern on its legs stands out with different light, making it look like a piece of living stained glass. In the humid air of the forest, their skin must stay moist to breathe, making the damp crevices of the jungle their perfect sanctuary. Like the other members of its genus, it also uses tiny pools of water trapped in plants to raise its young. But compared to the frogs we saw earlier, this species is incredibly active, which we could see clearly while observing and filming them. They are constantly on the move, patrolling their territory. From all the frogs we saw during our trip, they might just be my favorite.
Thirsty fossil.
Among the damp leaves, we encountered a master of transformation, the banded tree anole. You can see the color transformation happen right before your eyes. In the beginning, it has a beautiful green hue, but as we got closer and it felt the need to blend in better, its color changed to brownish red to match the forest floor. For an anole, I think this is pretty cool. While they spend most of their life high in the canopy, this individual has descended to the forest floor. This is a female, as the species is highly sexually dimorphic. Males have faint spots, and the females carry these bold, dark bands across their backs. It could be that this female has come to the ground to start the next generation of these beautiful creatures. But the most incredible feature of all, those incredible sky blue eyes. Here, taking a stop in the rain, is a common forest anole. This species is often found clinging to trunks or hiding in the leaf litter. You can identify it by its intricate blocky pattern on its skin and a signature dark patch located just between the eyes. We found another individual resting on a broad leaf when the rain had faded away. This one is really showing off those rough scales specific for this species. Those scales are why they are also known as rough-skinned anoles. These specialized scales break up the reflection of light, preventing any telltale shimmer that might alert a predator. While at first glance they appear to be calm, staying still and observing the surroundings, our interactions always ended abruptly when I got too close for comfort. While we took a break to cook after the day's hike, a bridled forest gecko was climbing on the wooden pillars. This one seems to be a female. Unlike the males who support vibrant reddish heads, she is draped in a tapestry of mottled browns, a perfect suit of armor for hiding in plain sight. These are diurnal geckos, meaning they are active while the sun is up. Here on this pillar, she's likely at a 5-star restaurant, hunting down the tiny insects drawn to the camp's structures. Deeper in the forest, we came across a fallen giant known locally as the Cachimbo caspi. Its name translates to pipewood, a reference to its tendency to form vast hollow chambers within its trunk. While the tree's life as a canopy giant has ended, its role as a sanctuary has just begun. These hollow logs become critical infrastructure for the forest's nocturnal residents. Peering into the humid heart of the log, we find a hidden colony of dog-like bats. They earn their name from their elongated canine-shaped snouts. Inside the log, the colony is a hive of subtle activity. From the safety of this hallowed trunk, they wait for the twilight hour, when they will emerge to hunt insects beneath the rainforest canopy. Unlike many bats that fall into a deep midday stupor, these are alert, remaining awake to scramble away or take flight at the first sign of an intruder entering their wooden sanctuary. Some individuals hang as solitary sentinels, while others huddle in dense vibrating clusters for security. Walking on a larger path, we heard a small ruckus coming from a nearby bush, and stopped to see what it was. I did not believe my eyes once I understood what I was seeing. Emerging from the leaf litter is a prehistoric survivor, the 9-banded armadillo. While they are common and widespread residents of the Americas, seeing one in the dense Amazonian understory is a rare event in on its own. And as they are typically creatures of the night, we were lucky beyond measure to see one so close while the sun was still up. Notice how this individual was not bothered by us at all. In this protected area, it seems they have not learned to fear humans as they cannot be hunted here. Here, you can see their long, sensitive ears and the 9 flexible bands of armor that give this species its name. This bony shield, made of plates called scutes, protects the animal as it plunges through the thorny debris in search for food. Seeing such a shy animal out in the broad daylight is a testament to the quiet, undisturbed nature of this stretch of the forest. Later during the same day at dusk, a second individual emerged from the same stretch of forest. This one appeared slightly smaller. As they are normally solitary, seeing 2 of these animals in such a short window seems almost impossible. But it is now the height of breeding season, so this could be a pair. Yet, there is another possibility. As 9-banded armadillos almost always give birth to identical quadruplets, 4 pups develop from a single egg. These 2 could be siblings, still sharing the same patch of the jungle as they grow older. For the next few minutes, please take some time just to relax. Listen to the jungle sounds and watch some beautiful frogs. Jose, what have been your highlights of this trip?
Lake Taban, amazing lake, especially at night, with so much stuff going on, predation, spiders eating other invertebrates, as you will see in some of the lakes, and we saw caimans, the spectacle caimans, babies, surprisingly just babies, you know, so probably the beginning of the dry season could be like a breeding time, because it's just babies everywhere, with this gleamy violet, almost purplish brightness.
During the night, Lake Tabano transforms into an explosion of life. Here we see a young spectacled caiman. When we scan the water with our lights, their tiny gleamy violet eyes pop up on the surface. This eye shine is caused by the tapetum lucidum, a reflective layer that helps nocturnal hunters see in near total darkness. These spectacled caimans are likely several months, if not a year old. Measuring around a meter from snout to tail end, they have now outgrown the extreme vulnerability of their first weeks. While hatchlings eat mostly insects, these juveniles have graduated to a more substantial diet. They are now skilled enough to ambush fish and frogs, utilizing their growing strength and speed. Even at this size, they possess the spectacle, a bony ridge between their eyes that looks like the frame of a pair of glasses. Remember the banded tree anole we met earlier on the forest floor? In the shadows of the night, we find another individual, but she is almost unrecognizable. On the forest floor, the color was a rugged reddish-brown to fit the surroundings. But here, suspended on this thin branch during the night, we can see the full extent of the other side of their palette. This individual is sporting a vibrant, glowing green. By turning green at night, she blends perfectly into the waxy leaves where she sleeps. This is a perfect way to disappear from the view of the predators prowling the night. Their color change is a stunning display of how perfectly they are adapted to disappear, whether they are on a bark of a trunk or a tip of a leaf. Even during night, those jewel-like blue eyes remain unmistakable. During the night, tucked into a perfectly circular cavity, we find a female yellow-throated woodpecker. Unlike the males of her species, who wear a bold stripe of red across their face, she is draped in a more subtle gold and olive color. During the day, these birds are active hunters, but at night, this cavity has become a vital fortress. She peeks out cautiously, but remains shielded from the elements and hidden from keen eyes of nocturnal predators. During the night, it is easy to miss even the larger animals, like the Slin's two-toed sloth. While their three-toed cousins are often seen basking in the daytime sun, these larger, shaggier residents are strictly creatures of the night. They are often seen as satirically slow animals in especially cartoons, but here you can see that they are capable of moving fast when needed. This individual started climbing up the tree as soon as it noticed us, and I was having a hard time keeping the camera in focus. They are quite agile for their size, able to climb down trees head first. During the night, under the cover of the darkness, they are safer from eagles and other visual hunters, so they use these hours to travel significant distances between feeding trees. By morning, this individual will have found a new hiding spot in the lianas, once again becoming a motionless part of the trees. In a shallow paddle, we encountered this yellow-bellied Liophis. This semi-aquatic snake is typically diurnal. It spends its life navigating the boundary between land and water, searching for the frogs and tadpoles that thrive in these temporary pools. Now, startled by our lights, it displays its incredible speed as it searches for a way to vanish from our sight. Suspended like a delicate thread on a small leaf, we encounter one of the jungle's most diminutive residents, the Amazon blunt-headed tree snake. Its body is impossibly slender, barely the width of a pencil, an adaptation that allows it to bridge gaps between branches without a single rustle. But it's those eyes that truly command attention, as those enormous bulbous eyes seem so out of proportion compared to its tiny little body. These eyes act as high-powered light catchers, helping the snake move in the pitch black canopy. As we comb the forest floor, our lights catch a shimmer that feels almost metallic. This is the Sooty coral snake, a highly venomous resident of the Amazonian leaf litter. Under our lights, its dark scales erupt in a kaleidoscope of blues and purples. This stunning iridescence is caused by the microscopic structure of its scales, which refract light like a prism. This is quite a large individual, stretching roughly 70 centimeters as it winds through the debris. Its size is a testament to its success as a hunter. It has a powerful neurotoxic venom that could cause paralysis, respiratory failure, or cardiac arrest in humans. But as you can see, this individual showed absolutely no hostility towards us. Instead, it was trying to quietly retreat into the shadows. This is a humble reminder that these animals aren't looking for a fight, and they simply wish to remain undisturbed. Watching this snake was hypnotic. It moves with a quiet, fluid purpose as it navigates the forest floor in search of small prey. In the Amazon, the most beautiful sights are often the ones which command the most respect. The night brings to life all sorts of small critters. This is a tent web spider, suspended in a masterpiece of engineering. Unlike the simple flat webs we often see, this species constructs a permanent three-dimensional fortress. At the heart of the web lies a densely woven silk tunnel. This is the spider's inner sanctum, a retreat where it can hide from predatory wasps and birds while remaining perfectly positioned to feel the vibrations of an unlucky insect hitting the outer scaffolding. Nearby, a Mangura orb weaver hangs in waiting. For this spider, the night is a game of patience. An unlucky insect has been caught in its web. As soon as the spider senses movement, it rushes in and immediately begins its meal. This is the silent cycle of life and death playing out in the spaces between the leaves. Here, another type of orb weaver demonstrates the brutal efficiency of the night. It engulfs its prey in a blur of motion, mummifying the insect using its legs to manipulate the silk and the prey with surgical precision. But a successful kill produces vibrations that attract other eyes. A sudden flash of movement. That was a bat moving through the frame in a blink and you'll miss it moment. In the Amazon, the hunter can become the hunted in a fraction of a second. The orb weaver clings to its prize, a survivor of a struggle that plays out across the canopy every single night. In a world where everything is looking for a meal, the best defense is to disappear in plain sight. This is a dead leaf katydid, a masterpiece of evolution. Its body mimics the color, texture, and even the imperfections of a decaying leaf, allowing it to hide into the foliage nearly perfectly. As our night journey nears its end, we encountered a silent guardian of the night, the Amazon pink-toed Tarantula. It is draped in a coat of sensitive, velvety black hairs. And now it is in the middle of a meticulous grooming ritual, ensuring those hairs are clean and tuned to the slightest vibrations. These are Proboscis Bats. During the day, they line up in a neat row on tree trunks, relying on their greenish-brown fur to blend in with the bark. That swaying motion you see isn't just them being restless, it's a clever defense mechanism. By mimicking a leaf blowing in the wind, they remained almost invisible to predators. As the light begins to fade, and they stretch their wings, it's a sign that the Amazon's nocturnal shift is about to take over, starting with some of the small hunters waiting just inside our rafters. In the Amazon, the wild doesn't always stay in the woods. At our lodge, the night brought out all sorts of animals right on our doorstep. Pink-toed tarantulas were a common sight on the rafters of our corridors. Look closely at the tip of their feet. These boots give it its name. In many parts of the world, a spider this size on the ceiling would be cause for alarm. But here, they are welcomed as wild neighbors. They act as natural pest control that keeps our lodgings free of unwanted visitors like cockroaches. For some guests at the lodge, this could also be considered as an unwanted guest, but we could not disagree more. This is an Amazon tree boa, relaxing across the ceiling beams right above our room door. Stretching over 1.5 meters, it is a majestic animal to look at. This snake is a common species in the pet trade, but they're famous for being a little bit moody and unpredictable. This one, though, seemed perfectly calm. If you look closely at its head, you can see those deeper pits along its lips. Those are heat sensors that allow it to see the body heat of birds and bats in total darkness. This snake has probably come down from its daytime resting place to prepare for the night hunt, as the sun has set and there is less activity in the lodge. He was nice enough to let us film him in all of his glory, but he was actually just trying to ignore our presence the best he could. One of the coolest things about these boas is their color. They're what's called polymorphic, meaning they come in all sorts of shades, from bright yellows and reds to more subtle earthly grays and browns. The pattern on this one was beautiful. Notice the darker, blotchy diamond pattern that looks almost like camouflage paint. They are perfectly designed to disappear against the mottled bark of a tree or the shadows of the rafters. It is no wonder they're such successful hunters of the night. A few hours later, we found our neighbor again, but this time he was busy. He'd moved from the rafters into a nearby tree, and originally it was tough to make out what was happening, but we could see him being very active as the flashlights illuminated the treetops. A little bit later, we saw that he'd come lower down, and it was much clearer what was up. He had actually caught a bird, possibly a caracara. As it looks for a way to consume its meal, the boa utilizes its tail to anchor itself on the tree, while its body squeezes the bird. It coils around the bird with immense pressure, not just to subdue the prey, which at this point is long gone, but also to manipulate the bird's bulky frame into a position that can be swallowed. The bird was absolutely huge compared to the snake's head, but its jaw is designed to basically unhinge and stretch around a prey that is much wider than itself. We watched for a long time as he tried to find a way to have his meal, but it seemed to be a real struggle, and it seemed almost impossible that he could ever pull this off. This was a brutal, but at the same time awe-inspiring moment to witness firsthand. We filmed and waited to see if he could truly eat this large prey. But eventually we left the snake alone to devour its meal and headed to sleep ourselves, still wondering if he had taken on more than he could handle. Next morning, he had returned to the safety of our lodge roof. It's hard to tell if he actually finished that massive meal or not, but he seemed satisfied to just rest there. And we were again quite happy to just admire our neighbor. I think I have found a love for geckos here in the Amazon rainforest because of a Turnip-tailed Gecko right above our door. He has been hunting there for the last couple of nights, and he's now there too. Let's check him out. He's adorable. Look at that little guy. I just saw him devour an insect, though I'm not sure, but I think it was a cockroach. I saw him jump and hunt. I didn't get the beginning on video, but you'll see what I got. But look at how cute he is. Adorable. Every single night, as soon as the sun dipped down below the trees, our favorite neighbor would appear in the rafters right in front of our cabin. This is the Turnip-tailed Gecko, one of the largest geckos in South America. Watching him move is almost hypnotic. They don't scurry like the little house geckos you might be used to. They move with this incredibly slow, deliberate caution, almost like a chameleon. Like most geckos, they don't have eyelids, so they use their long, sticky tongues to wipe away dust and keep their eyes moist. It's one of those classic gecko behaviors that makes them so endearing. These geckos are nocturnal, and they can see colors in the dark 350 times better than we can. These guys are the masters of the high canopy, but they've adapted perfectly to lodge life. In the wild, they hide in the tree hollows during the day, but here, the rafters are the perfect place and hunting ground, as they provide him with safety and a buffet of different insects every evening. They get their name from that thick, turnip-shaped tail he's now moving in a slow curving pattern. The tail is actually a fat storage organ, like a camel's hump, which helps them survive when food is scarce. But the tail is also a defensive tool. If a predator grabs it, the tail breaks off at a specific fracture plane to allow the gecko to escape. And when it grows back, it's usually even wider and more turnip-like than the original. Up close, you can see that incredible patterning on its eyes and the velvet texture of their skin. They are covered in tiny granular scales that give them a soft appearance. Their feet are engineering marvels, covered in millions of microscopic hair-like structures called seta. He's utilizing a molecular level attraction to bond with the surface. It allows him to move effortlessly and silently across this vertical beam. It's easy to overlook the smaller residents of the Amazon, but there is something deeply rewarding about slowing down to his pace. He was a nightly reminder of the intricate, hidden lives playing out in every corner of the rainforest. For us, he wasn't just a sighting. He was the bridge that connected us to the world of reptiles in a way we never expected. Our final morning at the Tahuayu ARC Lodge brought one last unexpected encounter. Just minutes before our boat was set to leave, a familiar face appeared in the dark water right beside our walkway. This is Pepe. He is a black caiman, the largest species of alligator in the world. While they can grow to over 5 meters in length, Pepe is still a young adult, roughly 4 to 5 years old. The locals told us he has been a resident here since he was a juvenile, returning to the safety of the lodge's pilings every wet season. Over the years, he's become so much part of the community that he earned a name of his own. Watching him like this, perfectly still, you can see why they are the apex predator of the Amazon basin. That dark, armored skin isn't just for protection. It helps them absorb heat from the sun and remain nearly invisible in the tea-colored black water of the flooded forest. Despite his fearsome reputation, Pepe was a peaceful neighbor. To see him now, after days of him staying hidden, felt like a deliberate send-off, a final, silent acknowledgement from the wild world we had spent the few last weeks exploring. Leaving the Amazon is never easy, but encounters like this stay with you. From the tiny geckos in the rafters to the prehistoric guardians under the porch, these wild neighbors remind us that we are just visitors in a world that belongs entirely to them. After our 2-week expedition, we left with a deeper understanding of our place in this incredible, ancient ecosystem.